Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and I thank you for joining me. Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and I thank you for joining me on the Jeff Releford Show. Because listen, you could have been doing anything else today, right? But you chose on your way home from work, or if you just at home chilling, to tune in to the Jeff Releford Show. Now, real quick, I want to say this to you. Go ahead, tell your friends and family to download the online radio box app to your Android or your Apple device. So that way you can go ahead and listen to us on the go. And what you do is from there, you type in Biggs Radio Chicago. Okay, Biggs Radio Chicago. And also listen to our sister stations in Indianapolis, Indiana, Pasadena, California, Atlanta, Georgia. And once again, you are kicking it with Jeff Releford on the Jeff Releford Show on Biggs Radio Chicago, the voice of a new generation. Let's go. Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Life Coach Jeff, coming to you live, baby. And we are here on another episode of the Jeff Releford Show on WCHI, Biggs Radio Chicago, the voice of the new generation, baby. How is everybody doing today? Man, let me tell y'all, man, I have had a good day today. It's been a little warm for your boy. You know, we still sitting up here in the 80s around, you know, Chicago, Northwest Indiana land. So we doing all right. But y'all still should go ahead and kick that heat real quick. So y'all know how we roll, man. I'm not going to get into the guests real quick, but I have some things to say before we get moving. So I got to remind y'all where we at. Boom, baby. We here at the Vibe Studios here at 2075 Rush Place here in Lake Station, Indiana. It consists of Ron Reader, the VNO, what you know, myself, Mr. Life Coach Jeff of Redirect, Regroup, Refocus, Smooch Wallace, who is Smooch Wallace, baby. If you don't know him, please get to know him. And also Mary Selena K of Rock Truth Radio. Listen, if you need your podcast or your radio show produced, we have you. We've got you. And we also are doing documentaries as well. I hear the team is doing a great job following around Fred Hampton Jr. So we have tapped into that market as well. And we doing big things, baby. So get at us at the Vibe Studios. And yes, while we're here at the Vibe Studios, I need to let y'all know with Biggs, it is our night of motivation. Okay, we got the Jeff Releford Show from 5 to 6 p.m. We have Mixtape Monday with Julian St. Chris from 6 to 8 p.m. And we have the Miss Dinah Lynn Biggs. We have Miss Dinah Lynn Biggs on the Dinah Lynn Biggs Show from 8 to 10 p.m. So listen, if you want your music played on Biggs Radio or you want to be interviewed, go ahead, give us a call at 773-462-4447 or email us at biggsradio@gmail.com. Once again, you could give us a call at 773-462-4447 or email us at biggsradio@gmail.com. Okay. And also, people, we have a website. Y'all can go out here. If y'all want to know more about Biggs Radio and what we have to offer, please go to biggsradio.com. It has everything about our personalities, our shows, who comes on, what day, the whole nine. We are here for you. So y'all tap into biggsradio.com. And big shout out to TL Williams and Ruby Gold Smoke of Shateria Beauty. That's SHATERIA Beauty. Okay. They are Chicago's #1 vegan hairline. Okay. Hair care brand. They're out here giving cancer patients hair back. I ain't got no reason to lie. So please, y'all tap in. And I need to show y'all the picture. Look at these manes. Y'all see these manes here? Okay. It's on manual, but they got manes, people. They got manes. If you want your hair to look like that, go ahead, tap into SHATERIA. That's ShateriaBeauty.com. Okay. Follow them and order some stuff from them because they have great products. All right. And also, I have to announce Miss Sharbria Shine, the stage play. She is bringing Dr. Love. Okay, Saturday, October 18th at 6 p.m. and Saturday, November 1st at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Okay, it's going to be at Holderaft. I think it's Holderaft Performing Arts Center. That's 1200 Spring Street in Michigan City, Indiana. So to purchase your tickets, okay, you could go to SharbriaShine.com/Dr. Love. And also for a special discount, use code Dr. Love 10 for $10 off of your ticket. Okay. Who don't want $10 off a ticket? And who doesn't want to enjoy a great stage play by Miss Sharbria Shine? And big ups to her husband, Louis Shine, because we just got done covering 2 days of the Professional Hoops Association. Big ups to my man, Louis Shine, for having us out there. And it was a great time. It was a great day. It was awesome. So we about to just tap in. But y'all have read a little bit of the caption here. You know, we got some things going on. We have a guest who is in the building. And with this guest, I had the pleasure of reconnecting with this man. It has been some time since I have seen him. And it was just a blessing to go ahead and meet this brother under the circumstances that we met, having a new connection for me, you know, but I know he's been rocking with the man for a little bit of time. So, yeah, I'm going to just introduce my man, Mr. Dwayne Walker.
Hey, what's up? How you doing, man?
Go ahead and say that one more time, sir.
I said, hey, how you doing, brother?
You know, I'm good, man. I'm good. Look at you, all smiles. This is a beautiful thing. I love this. I love this, man. And see, if y'all don't know this brother here, he is extremely positive. He is very positive. he is well spoken. This man, he is just a man who is out here doing his thing. So, you know, I could talk about you for a long time, brother. But you go ahead, introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are and what you got.
Well, you know, it's funny you talked about my smile. One of the things I did today was on purpose. I had to run some errands, and I purposely smiled at people every time I said hi to them today. Just said smile. Just smile at them.
That's awesome.
Instead of just saying, hey, how you doing? Or not speaking at all. You know,
Yeah.
People would, when we met eyes, I just smiled. And you'd be surprised at how many people smile back, man. Just sharing that love, man. You don't know how somebody's day is going or whatever. And you just flash a smile at them and say, hey, how you doing? And they just smile back like,
yeah.
And so, yeah. But my name is Dwayne Walker, and I am my wife and I are the proud owners of Chicagoland Popcorn. It's been 11 years. We've been in business, and we recently relocated. So we're Hoosiers now. We're relocated from Illinois to Indiana.
I did the complete opposite.
Did you?
I did.
Oh my gosh. You went back to Illinois?
No, I was always in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
They call me an Indiana over there. I hate it. I can't. They do. That's what they do. That's what my people do. That's what they love. But anyway, keep going, brother.
I'm a Hoosier now.
Yeah.
No, but we, you know, we've been in, like I said, in business for 11 years. I'm a retired corporate executive.
Okay.
And one of the things that I'm super excited about is doing what we're doing right now, man. Sharing.
Yeah.
Talking, telling people about a little bit about my background and stuff like that. We'll get into that. But the main thing that I want, the main message that I want to know, want people to know is that, and you heard me say this. Yeah. I meet so many people who complain about not having a harvest off of seeds they've never sown. I know somebody just getting that. You might get that in the back. Okay. No,
if they listen, they're going to get it now. They have no choice but to get it now. Okay.
No, but one of the things that I find is I get so many people who get caught up in life, man. You know, they start out excited when they're 1 and 2 years old. And 5 years old, you ask them what they want to do, and they got a long list of things. I want to be a fireman, an engineer, and an astronaut. Then you get them about 10 or 12 years old. And what do you want to do? And they say, well, I want to play an NBA, and I want to be a writer. They might have two things. Then you ask them when you get 16, 17, 18, what do you want to do? And then you ask them when they get in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s, and they start talking about, man, I wish I would have, and I wish I would have done that. And so, man, my life's mission is to get people to wake up, man. We stop shortchanging you and me about not showing us their gifts and talents, man. God gives everybody a gift.
That's true.
Or a talent. And if you don't put it in the ground, it's not you that you're hurting only. You hurting us too, because we need to see you.
Big facts. See, again, people, see, keys to the game, okay? And it's not just keys to the game by business. It's keys to the game by life. That's why we have the guests that we have on the show. It's not for me. It's to help y'all. They be dropping gems on me too, but we trying to reach the people out here.
Right.
So, man, I just appreciate everything that you do, man, because y'all don't understand. To be in the presence of this man here, he is really about what he's saying. Every time, from the first time I saw you, have had the same energy. You have had the same spirit, the whole nine. When I met this man again, we was at this mixer for Louis Shine at the before the kickoff for the Professional Hoops Association. I looked at it and I know this brother, and he was looking at me thinking the exact same thing.
Right.
And when I looked at the last time I sent you a text message, that was in 2016, brother.
Wow. You still had it on the phone then?
It was still on my phone.
Wow.
I've had this number for this long.
Wow.
That is wild.
So you kicked me to the curb for all these years, then, right?
You know what, man? You know what
happened was.
You know what happened was. But you know what, brother? I still told people about your business.
No,
I never forgot about your business.
Appreciate it.
Because we need to talk more about that, because it is some shocking things that he was saying about his business, and when he said it, especially about just how much popcorn there is.
Yeah,
I think the people need to hear that.
Yeah, we have over 250 recipes, and as I said, we've been in business for a little over 11 years. I think it'd be 12 years in September. But you know, it's not all cookies and cream. You know, that's the story behind the story, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know. We sold millions and millions and millions of dollars of popcorn, man. Hundreds of thousands of bags of popcorn. In fact, we have a order we're fulfilling next week. We'll be fulfilling an order for Lollapalooza, like 4,800 bags of popcorn.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a blessing, and it was really a blessing, because that was much capital at the right time.
I hear you, brother. Yes, sir.
but you know what I'm going to do is one of the things. I'm launching a YouTube channel. I've already launched it, but I haven't really put a lot of content out there. I've been working on it. Is that one of the things that I'm in the process of doing is really letting people see behind the veil of an entrepreneur. Understand, right? You know, there's a lot of people who they see me, they see my wife, and they look at us, and they look at our business, and because of the way we carry ourselves with our business, professional, and we try to do things the right way, people think everybody tries to count your money, so to speak.
They do.
You can make millions of dollars, but it's not what you make, it's what falls through to the bottom line.
Exactly.
That really gets you. And so we started out gangbusters, and then we hit that thing called COVID like everybody else.
Yeah.
And man, I was working at Amazon, bro. I took a job at Amazon working. I did that for 2 years because I needed to pay benefits, and our revenues dropped down about 60% depending on what month.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was putting in time. They kept trying to hire me, which was funny because I bring it wherever I am, right?
Yeah.
You got to bring your A game. That's one thing
true.
I learned about, man. You got to bring your A game. If you get an opportunity, bring your A game. And I was doing stuff. I was giving away popcorn to my associates that worked with my group. Yeah. And I think the last thing I did was working in a production where they make books on demand. It's called a make on demand. Amazon, for you that don't know this, they don't just print. I mean, they don't just store books in the warehouse anymore. They actually print them on demand. Books, CDs, DVDs.
Yeah.
You order those things. It actually happens. The orders come in, we get them, and we produce them. So my 12-hour shift, we had a record at the time, and I don't know if we broke it or not. I'm sure they broke it by now, but we did 50,000 books in 12 hours, man.
Jesus.
Paperback books, man. We sure did. And it was gangbusters, and they kept saying, "We want you. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" And here's the thing that I found out, and one of the things that I'm excited about you having me on your show on is that motivation, man. People will do all kinds of things to be recognized, and encouraged. You know, it's one thing to say good job, but it's another thing to show it. And so I was giving popcorn with little bags like the ones we were selling at the game.
Yeah.
I'd give those to my associates, man, and just to recognize and put their name on the board as number one position, etc.
Yeah.
And so we went through that rough spot, but after COVID left and went away, you know, we had a big hole that we were in, man. Taxes, debt, the whole 9 yards. God blessed us to get rid of all that high interest debt that we had and all of that stuff. But once we got out of that, and then we were blessed recently to buy our the 4 acres and the building that we're on right now, right across from Albanese in Maryville. We have that, but we have expansion plans to do that, and so we're working through right now getting that vision to fruition. But the thing behind the scenes is that, you know, what people don't know is that for 3.5 years we've had this location in Miller. You know, it's Gary for y'all.
For y'all, you know, it's GI
46403. It's GI. I said that because when we did our ribbon cutting, it's funny. We did our ribbon cutting, and we had all the politicians and the mayor and all of that stuff with it. And I said, hey, look, they said, you got to say something. You got to say something. So I stood up and I told them, listen, we are so excited. We've been a part of the Gary Business Chamber of Commerce for 3 years. I said, now I'm super excited to finally be a part of the Gary business community. And about a third of the people was clapping. I looked around, think, did I say something wrong? Then I said, oh, I'm sorry. The Miller Beach section of Gary business community. And then they all clapped. Because I said, you bougie folks,
you know what? Now see, I got something to say. Y'all, he ain't lying about y'all. I love my Miller Beach people, but y'all bougie. Y'all lie. It's because they got them nice out there. Them some nice houses.
Well, I moved to Miller, so but I ain't bougie.
Oh, you part of the bougie crowd. Y'all, he talking about his own people. It be your own people that do it.
No, we love being out there. You know, we like the water, like the beach, and we're not. You know, I'm not on the water, but I can walk out and be there in 2 minutes.
There you go.
You know, and from my house. So, which we're renting. That's a whole nother story. We're renting with an option right now because we used to own in Illinois. But remember I told you COVID and money and everything. Yeah. I left a big old house in Illinois, man. Big 4,000 square foot house.
Oh man.
Came to Miller to a much little, about a third of the size of what I'm in.
Oh wow. Okay.
But I like it.
Okay.
I really am.
And that's what it's about.
That's a part of the story. But see, that's the part that's what I was talking about. That people don't want to talk about the struggle. Everybody wants to talk about when you're standing in the goal line after you score the touchdown. Yes, everybody wants to do that, but nobody wants to talk about the road in between. See, the Bible talks about as long as the earth remains, there'll be seed, time, and harvest. See, everybody talk about the harvest. Don't nobody talk about the seed a lot, and don't nobody like talking about the time in the middle. But it takes time sometime, right?
It does.
So, and I was telling somebody the other day, I said, you know what I learned through this challenge that we've had over the last several years is that faith sometimes look real ugly.
Can you say that again? Look right there. Say that. Yep, right there.
Faith is sometimes ugly. And what I mean by that is you can be going through. See, when you're standing, there's a scripture in Ephesians that talks about after having done all, stand. And I was challenging some people all the time. I said, have you done all? And they say, yeah. And I said, yeah, but that may be for today. Tomorrow morning when you work up, you might have another idea or something else that's on your heart that you need to do, and you need to go do that. Some people just stop and they don't do it. It's ugly sometimes, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie. Some people don't like talking about the fact that it's hard. When you're going through it, when your money is I say it's more month at the end of the money. If you're walking around, if you're sick, if you have relationship issues, if you're worried about your job ending or challenges going on, or in the case of an entrepreneur, you know, let me just say this. Entrepreneurs, y'all understand what I'm talking about. It's that you can only eat what you kill. Right?
Very strong word.
You can only eat what you kill. So I told somebody the other day, I said, you know, being an entrepreneur, I found out, I used to think it was like changing the tire going 70. You had no time to stop. But I tell you a story. See, I retired I was a corporate executive. I had a $400 million business that I was the president for. I had 1,100 employees. We had 110 locations scattered all around the U.S. and Canada. Okay. And I would have these ideas. So I would call in my vice president. I would call in my general managers. I had 5 of them. I had a director of HR. I had a controller. I would call all them in. We'd have a huddle, get my assistant involved, and I would say, here's what we want to do. And then I would say, okay, I need this, I need this, I need that, and I would get all this information, and then we would all execute as a team. But I was more of the quarterback, right? Yeah, and that's good. So we need to have quarterbacks. But when I became an entrepreneur, this little old popcorn business called Chicagoland Popcorn, the first thing that happened was I came up with all these great ideas, and when I turned around to delegate, wasn't nothing there but a mirror, bro. I was like.
Brother, and you know what, that is something when you really get to thinking about it. I had to, even when I started doing the life coaching business and I want to figure out the direction I want to go with that in, I had to say to myself, I'm like, yo, it ain't nobody but you, right? Because it is really just you in the beginning stages. People think you have a lot of people. They'll support. Maybe some people will support you, right? Because we get a lot of people that say you doing a good job. But like you said, you turned around for that delegation. You saw nobody but the man. Yeah, it was me. That type of support,
right? But you know, the game, and they don't know this. I'm gonna tell some of your business.
Go ahead, tell me.
When I came in here today, you know, when we set up for the show, I came in here. You was putting together stuff. You was setting up cameras. You were doing the lights. I said, man, and you said, man, this is it right here. You're looking at, it used to be 2, now it's just 1.
Exactly.
And the whole thing is that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
See, not a lot of people willing to do that. They rather get that check. And I'm not knocking anybody who has a job. Like I said earlier, if you work for somebody, man, work with all your heart, because here's the thing. I was telling this to somebody earlier, and I know I'm gonna jump around. I used to be try to suppress this, and I used to try to hide this. But I'm an adult ADHD, ADD, DAAD, all that stuff. All that stuff. All that. And at one time, I remember I was getting a family member who was helping them. They were going through getting their diagnosis, and they got put on some medicine, some stuff called focal in it. So I went to the same neurologist or whatever he was, and he put me on that same stuff. And I was on for about 30 days. I went back and I told him, I said, hey, bro, I'm good. I done done this for 50 years. I'm straight.
There you go.
And so this is just who I am. So if I jump around, I'm apologizing up front for all you that are listening if we jump around. But one of the things that happens is that when people get a vision and people get a goal and people have ideas about what they want to do, then they start down that process. The first time they hit some gravel on the road, they misinterpret it and think this is not the road I should be on. But in reality, you might need to be trained a little bit before you can do what you're really supposed to do.
Yes. And I love how you said that, because a lot of people don't understand, it takes preparation.
Right.
Like even what Lewis was saying. Lewis was saying he didn't know all the different avenues he was doing was going to get him ready for that. He said when he looked back on it, God was prepping him for that particular moment. And when I look at anything that I do, I have that in my mind. I say, you know what can I do to not complain about what's going on, but find an opportunity in it? Because all it's going to do is just make me better and make me greater at the outcome.
I was telling somebody the story the other day, because here's what happens is we spend so much time trying to hide the pain. Because we all want to get to the goal line and tell everybody what we scored. Look at us. Look how great we are.
Exactly.
But to talk about the process, and this is where God has challenged me. Is that I was disobedient. I'm gonna confess some stuff tonight.
Go ahead, talk, brother. I'm
gonna confess some stuff. Is that I had some direction that I was supposed to go in when I started this business. And I had these big plans about growth. Here I am. I had 110 locations scattered all over the country. This is what I did prior to the job I did prior to that one. I was responsible for 982 locations, and I had worldwide responsibilities for some products. So I went to China and did stuff. But my point is, I'm a distribution and manufacturing specialist. Okay. And so distribution, when you start talking about multiple distribution points, etc. I understand that game. And so I came into this, I said, popcorn, how hard can it be?
Oh,
and so I got into the game, and I had all these big goals, and God was talking to me and said, yeah, but I want you to do this. Yeah, but I want you to do this. And I want you to know, this is not something that I overtly did. Sometimes you realize when you look back, you say, Lord, I'm sorry, I missed it because I wasn't listening to it. Right. So fast forward to when I started the business, I had these goals for growth, and we started out, like I said, with gangbusters. We was doing all kind of stuff, man. It was crazy. We were getting all kind of opportunities. We were getting, when we first started, we had an organization called me, and I thought it was a crank call. They had seen one of the boards that I was on at the time, put in they announced to the board and to the community that I was retiring from corporate America, and then I had decided to start my business in Northwest Indiana. And so we got some press on that. And there's an organization that contacted me. They said, hey, look, are you interested in being the title sponsor to the Valparaiso Popcorn Fest? Now that was started by Orville Rettenbacher, like 40 years ago, something like that. And so when they called me and said that, I thought it was a crank call. People calling, are you interested in being a title sponsor? I said, nah, this is a hustle right here. No, I'm not interested. And I hung up. But that night I kept getting churning in my stomach that I should call these people back. So I did. And now we hadn't opened yet. We were still building out the facility. So when I finally got in touch with them, and decided to go over and talk to them, and I decided to do a 5-year deal with them. So I was cutting them a check. Now remember, we hadn't opened yet. My daughter, who I took with me at the time, she was working with us. She said, Dad, it was hilarious. You wouldn't let that check go because I'm, you giving a five-figure check to somebody, and I'm not talking about no low five. I'm talking about high five. You know, you're giving them a high five-figure check, and you ain't popped a kernel, soda, popcorn. I ain't done none of that, right? So I gave him that. That's because that's what faith looks like. Remember, I told you sometimes it's ugly.
Yes, sir.
So we positioned ourselves like that. We got into this deal where we did that, but nobody know who we were. Nobody knew.
Wow.
We weren't ready. We popped popcorn from a Wednesday until Friday night and Friday morning early, and then we went over Friday and then Saturday and then Sunday and did the festival. But I say that story because what happens is that when we have these visions and we have these dreams for what we want to do, and we think we know how it's going to go, we're going to run into those roadblocks and whatever and different things that happen. And what I like to tell people is if you're getting bugs on your windshield, that's because you're moving, right?
Come on, man. Hey, this man made a very true statement. I'm gonna let him keep going because he's cooking.
No, if you get bugs on your windshield and you're hitting potholes and hitting rocks and the whole 9 yards, that's because you're moving. I told somebody the other day at my store, he said something, and I looked at him and I said, man, you can't even if you're on the right road, if you stop, you might get run over. So keep moving. Keep moving.
And I love that because I always tell people, I say, look, that's what faith without works is. That's why it's dead. Because the thing is, if you're going to have that faith, you have to couple your faith with some type of movement. Like you said, you clinging on to that check.
Man, that hadn't popped any corn.
Because you hadn't popped no cord, no kernels, no nothing. But you was holding on. When you let it go, it was go time.
It was go time. But then the other thing that happens is, like I said, when we start running into challenges, and I won't go through all of them, but when you run through challenges, how do you respond?
Oh, I love that, brother. see, we on the same page.
And you know, Mike Tyson said this. He said everybody got a plan till they get hit in the mouth.
Come on. Ooh, that's a big punch that brother landed.
They got a strategy till they get hit in the mouth. And you get hit in the mouth, then they whoa, you know, how you gonna respond to that? But what ended up happening is that I looked at the situation we were in. I looked at the fact that we had to go through last minute. We had some arrangements with some other organizations that were going to help to supply us, and toward the 9th hour, we got a call saying, "We sorry, we can't do that for you." And so here we are, just starting, just putting in equipment, just learning what we're doing. And so we scrambled and we made it happen. But going through that, when we went to the festival, we got some recognition. People knew who we were, but then roll forward into October. Isn't that when I don't celebrate Halloween, but Halloween is in when October.
Yeah, October 31st.
Right, October. So it's Halloween. We still got the store. We had a little spike, but I kept saying we really need to be immersed in the community. We need to let them know we're here. And so we got an opportunity to go to this thing called a trunk or treat where we were down. And here's where I'm going with this for anybody out there. See, I talked about everybody having gifts or talents and not all of them sewing. Is I sat down and I said, okay, how can I use what I have to get our name out there for people to know who we are? So before I shaved my head a couple years ago, I used to go around the country, and even after we started the business, I used to go around and do Muhammad Ali lookalike stuff, because believe it or not, I had at the time a resentment.
You know what, brother? You know what? And I'm gonna be very honest with you. While you talking about boxing, I looked over and I said, you know, he kind of like George Foreman. Look, that's
because I shaved the head.
You shaved the head.
But when I had the afro, it was Ali.
It was Ali, and I can see that.
You know, if I'll show you a picture real quick. But one of the things I did is I said, well, people don't know who we are, and I went over. We got this table at this event, and I went over there and I was like, wait a minute, the table is down some side street, because we got there late for this trunk or treat thing, but we were going there to hand out flyers and to actually let people know who we are. And so I said, how can I get people to know who we are? And so, man, I went and put on.
Oh man, hold on, y'all. Hold on. I see the photo. Hold on.
That's before I shaved.
Brother. The man has a picture with Muhammad Ali, and it looked like he his brother. I can't make this up. This man looked like a young version of Muhammad Ali.
So what I did is I went and put on my Ali garb,
Yeah.
Because it was Halloween, right?
Okay.
And I went over to our table, and what I did is I started talking smack. I started talking stuff. People were looking down there. We were down the side road by a barbershop, if I remember correctly. And so you got the main road, and then we were down the side road.
Okay.
So I started hollering.
Yeah.
So what you looking at, man? I was talking like Ali. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Don't nobody pop popcorn like me, man.
I love that.
I'm doing
that is awesome.
Right? Doing all kinds of stuff. Pretty soon we had a long line of people wanting to take pictures with me while we were handing out samples, giving them look where we were. So we ran out of samples, even though we were down this side street. We ran out like 2 hours before this joint was over. And I ended up going back to the shop, and people were already coming down to the shop because of that promotion. And the thing that the reason I said that story to everybody is you got to use what you have right where you are. What are you doing right now in the situation that you're in? Some of you hate your job right now. Some of you hate a relationship you might be in right now. Some of you might be having trouble in your business, just like we're not. Our businesses, man, if I lifted the covers completely and let you see under the business, man, we clawing it up right now. I got a store that's underperforming, but I refuse to close it because that's not who I am. I'm not going to close it right now. Now I may have to close it, but that's not faith saying I may have to. Exactly. If I'm running to save the store, I know how many hundreds. Well, I say hundreds. It's not even hundreds. I know how many thousands of dollars more I need to make in order to keep that store open. And God keeps blessing us. I told you earlier about this Lollapalooza thing. What a blessing. It really helped me to be able to take care of some fires, as they say, right?
Exactly.
So I'm using what I have where I am. And that's my encouragement to everybody. I said I was gonna be transparent. I was on a conference call a couple of weeks ago, and this individual that was on the call talking, he said he was using an example to express how he handle a situation, a conflict situation, where it's one of them, it could go either way. He thought he's gonna have to get at somebody, right? And I understand what he was talking about, but he said that's because, man, I'm only 70%, and I was laughing because he was talking about 70% saved, and I said, man, you either are or you ain't, right? But I knew what he was talking about because we're not all at the same, our minds are not renewed at the same level, and so I answered a directive that I believe I got of what I was supposed to be doing when I was in my business, about 70%. I actually was sending out some inspirational things that I used to do, declarations, and I had it started out with emails, then it went to texting, and then I was posting them on social media and the whole 9 yards. And I felt in my spirit that I should stop and actually I had a directive to really stop and write a book, but to start speaking. And I didn't do that. I was so heads down with the business. Every now and again, I would have a speaking engagement. And then I did go through the discipline and write a book.
Yeah, let's talk about the book, bro.
Yeah, this is the book that I was, and this is your copy too, by the way, signed.
Oh, God bless you, sir. Now see. People don't have to bring nothing to you. They don't have to get nothing to you. I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, but the title of my book, and you can hold it, it's called I Am Becoming. And it's called I Am Becoming. And it's on Amazon, Kindle, and on Amazon. But the subtitle is Stop Wasting Your Time and Talents and Discover the Key to Unlocking Your Purpose. Because one of the things that I find is that people, again, complain about not having a harvest off of seeds they've never sown. And so I want people to start sowing what they have. And so here's what I had to do is I had to stop. I wrote my book. That was my 70%. But I didn't do the rest of what I was supposed to do. And God has a way of getting your potential, because your attention. Here I am over here with all of this knowledge from corporate America, all this know-how. And I had a lot of money when I first retired. Yeah. I had a lot of money, but I kept putting my money into it. That's why it took so long for it to start hurting the way it could hurt, is that you sowing your own money into this thing. You're like, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. Hey, wait, what's going on?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. That's how I go, brother. You look back and you say, whoa, we need to pull back a little bit.
And so, but then you do some self-reflection. And so here's what I want to encourage people to do, is that when you're in a situation where you think might be you're hitting a wall, you don't have no answers. First of all, I happen to be a believer in Jesus Christ. So I'm gonna say that on air.
Go ahead. You let them know, sir.
And I know that first of all, there's no mistakes. Just like us seeing each other again.
Exactly.
I know what it was. Remember, I asked you what it was, and I told you when we talked. I said there was something I told you when we saw each other at the event. It was that coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous.
Yes, that was the quote. Y'all, I was trying to figure out the quote that he said I wanted him to say, and that was it, sir. Yeah. You say that one more time.
It says coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. And so here I am. I said to myself, okay, I'm relaunching some things. I have this YouTube channel I'm going to do.
Yep.
I'm doing all of this stuff. And I'm just in the infancy stages. I'm trying to be obedient, but you know, I'm changing the oil and the tire going. You know, you can't stop as an entrepreneur because you got to keep producing.
Exactly.
And so you and I met, and then out of nowhere, you know, we do this interview, but out of nowhere, you look at me and say, "Hey, man, I have this show, and I'd love you to be on the show." And I was like, "Man, that's exactly what I want. I want to get this message out, to tell a lot of people." And so later on in the show, I'm gonna get real direct, and I'm gonna tell some stuff, some secrets.
Oh, okay.
Don't get them out. Some stuff that a lot of entrepreneurs and people don't want to talk about. And I use one example of one of the videos.
Okay.
One of the videos I'm working on. It's funny. People say, "Why did you shave your head?" Right? Because you saw the picture of me with Ali and how I look. And they said, "Well, why did you shave your head?" Because it was maintenance, you know. For keeping the hair up, you had to get the hair cut.
Come on, all the time.
And if you're trying to go out and look like Ali, if you got a couple some pepper gray up there, you got to take care of that too.
That is, that's right.
Then if you keep getting older, you get them what they call cowlick. You know what they call what's the cowlick where it's thin right here. And I didn't even know it. I was in denial, bro. But I got a picture. Auditorium speaking, and somebody took a picture from way up high. And not only did I have a cowlick, but I had a little bit back here. And I looked and I saw the picture, and I went to my wife. And my daughter happened to be there, and I said, "Baby, look at this picture." I said, "I didn't know my hair was like this. Maybe it was because of the way lights were. I'm not sure.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe."
But she looked at me, and my daughter looked, and they said, "Dad, you've been like that for a minute." I said, "Y'all been letting me go out the house like this?"
What I said, it be your own people.
It's the own people, man. I said, "Y'all let me go out like this? Come on, y'all." I didn't. I said, "I'm gonna find some way to fix this." So I found a brother over in Matson, near my house that I used to have in Olympia Fields, and he hooked me up. He went in there. I said, "If the women getting extensions," this is the video too that's coming out, right?
Okay.
I said, "If women getting extensions," I said, he said, "Man, I can glue some hair on here. I can fill this up. Fill this up." Man, he had me tight. Boy, my stuff was right.
Oh, I know, boy. He did.
He had me tight, but he didn't give me no owner's manual. See, he didn't give me no owner's manual, man. See, Jeff.
I know where you go.
He didn't give me no owner's manual. So me and my wife went on vacation, bro. We down in Florida. And we had this nice swanky little restaurant sitting out on the patio. Wasn't no umbrellas. We out there in the sun, man. We on vacation, chilling, eating this food.
Yeah.
And it started getting hot, and I started sweating a little bit. So I'm wiping it off and everything. Then the next thing it started itching a little bit. Now, and you know, I used to see women doing this all the time, patting their head.
Yeah.
Like then I say, "Why are they doing that?" I know now. because I scratched my head right here where he had fixed. And bro, I had a wardrobe malfunction. Right? I looked up. My wife looked at me. I looked up. I said, "Oh my gosh, I pulled my hat. I put a hat on my joint. Had moved a little bit right here, man." Because I went to the crib to the little bed and breakfast we were staying at. I said, "Oh, I'm gonna wash this out because this ain't right here." But I didn't know you can't just wash that out. You
can't wash it out, bro.
You got to have some special stuff to deal with the glue. But he didn't tell me, man.
He didn't tell you. Oh,
if he did, I didn't hear him.
I
wasn't listening.
We just gonna say he didn't tell you.
So I washed that stuff, and it started clumping up. And I said, "Oh my gosh!" And so I said, "I just got to pull this stuff out." I pulled it out, and guess what, y'all? It was worse than it was. When I went to go see old boy, my joint was almost bald headed. I was like, my joint was pulled out. So we got back. I had the hat vacation because I was wearing the hat. We got back home, and my man was out of the country. The dude that I used, I was like, "Oh my gosh, he gone." And so I said, I'm in traffic coming from Illinois to Indiana to go to work on the freeway. What do you do on the freeway if you stuck in traffic and can't move? You get on your phone, right? So I got on my phone. And I said, I need to find another barber. So I found one. I Googled and found a guy local.
Okay.
And I said, he said appointments only. So I scheduled an appointment with old boy, and I went to go see him. And this is the story. This what had happened, y'all, was this. I think I knew what he was gonna do.
Okay.
But I sat in his chair, Jeff. And when I sat in his chair, he got a wax pencil out. That's the first clue I had. That I was like, and he drew a line like, wait, what's that line for? What is he doing? Because I ain't had no hair. It was there, but he was coming, man. He was drawing. Then he got his clippers out and he got the cutting one. And I thought, I said, man, he going kind of deep. I thought he was just gonna fix this. He going kind of deep. He said, all right, I'm going back to get the hair right now. And he left. And when he left, I spun my chair around and he had me straight up looking like Bozo, man. My joint was bald right in the middle, man. Man, he shaved it all off, man. He shaved it all off, man. I was like, oh my! I thought I was gonna go. I was gonna catch a case, y'all.
Had you on the chili ball?
No, I was gonna catch a case. I was gonna go to jail, man.
Man,
I was like,
this ain't it.
What?
This ain't it.
What? So anyway, my man he went and got this hair and he glued it all on. And straight up, when he got done, I looked like one of the Temptations, bro. My joint was up there. It was a little wavy and it was up there on top.
Yeah.
And it was hard as this, right? Just like that. You tap it was hard, man. And I was so frustrated because my line, and I noticed. Everybody else said, man, I couldn't tell. I knew what was up. I went home and got my clippers, took the guard off, and I shaved my head. I was, I'm gonna start over. And my wife came home and she got the rubbing on my head. She said, "Oh, I like this." And I ain't grew no hair since, man. Mama like it.
Come on, Doc. There you go. I'm with you, brother. If she like it, you got to stay bald.
So that's a long story, man. But that's the kind of stuff I'm gonna talk about on my channel. Real life stuff. People ask questions about business. I'm gonna be transparent, man. I don't care, man.
And you know what? The thing is, a lot of times to be successful, I know when it comes to radio, I'm learning that you have to build something behind the scenes. Remember when I said, when we came in, y'all, we talked a little bit, and I showed them what the accomplishments and everything. I'm not gonna say it because y'all already know what it is because I talk to y'all all the time. But I was explaining to him what I had and everything, and you didn't even see the plaque over here,
right?
For that,
right?
You know,
right?
And that's something I just got. And you only get these accomplishments by being in the community,
right?
You know, putting in work. Because that's the thing. When people start to recognize you for what you're doing, that's because you're putting in work. And I think that's a big piece a lot of people do miss in business too. Like you said earlier, the community factor of it. When you was out there looking like Muhammad Ali and selling popcorn, that's exactly what you got to do to get out there for people to know who you are. You have to make yourself stand out. And a lot of people aren't willing to go in these places. They just think they can just sell something or speak a little bit, and then that's enough. That's not enough.
Not enough. And the thing that's interesting about that is not only is it not enough, but when you run into situations like me with the hair, for example, we spend so, and I'm not saying if your stuff, if your mug is jacked up and your hair is jacked up, by all means continue to go get stuff done. I ain't saying that.
Yeah,
you know, some people. And I love women, you know, but I also notice some of them need to wear some makeup, you know, and it's all right. It's good, man. It's good, man. Get tighten it up, you know. I mean, I love that. I love that to do that. If you got to do that, go do that. But what I found, and this is the lesson, and this is what I would talk about on my YouTube channel and in this video that I do about the hair, because so many people ask that question, is I want to give you the lesson is that if we spent as much time, as much effort, as much money being conscientious about the inside as we do the outside. Come
on, brother.
You'll see similar results. You know, because you see people, man, they had their hair, the nails, their feet, their tie, their clothes, everything is tight, man.
Yep.
But they stuff behind the scenes be tore up from the floor up.
Toe up. Right? Jacked up.
Right. And so my whole thing is that we all have a calling.
Yeah.
But we spend so much time getting derailed. I talk about that in the book here. One of the things I talk about, I call them the 5 Ds.
Okay.
Is that we get distracted, discouraged, discredited, derailed, all because we don't focus on we don't make the real thing the real thing. We get sidetracked.
Exactly.
We get so focused on other stuff. And that's because life happens. Remember I told you about the shorties earlier, about being young, and you ask them what they want to do, and they have this long list of things they want to do, right? But then when they get older, they tell you they have that list is now, instead of 12, it's 2.
Exactly.
3. And then you get up and they go, I don't know. The reason that happens is because they've had failures at certain things. They've been told no a whole lot. they struggled at something for a long time, you know, something, you know, somebody, I told a group I was speaking to a couple months back, I said, what if I told you I was going to go into the NBA? And they looked at me and they started laughing. They started laughing. They said, no, I don't know, Mr. Walker, if you're going to be able to make it. I said, but see, y'all thinking the wrong way. I didn't say I was going to go play in the NBA. I said, what if I have an eidetic memory? And I said, and I am an excellent color commentary, you know, guy we're talking about, and so lays it up. And then I'm the guy they go to when they want to ask statistics and don't look it up. You know, I know how to get all that. I said, see, that's what I'm saying. You got to think outside the box. But we all have something. But what happens is that we get so distracted trying to make ourselves look a certain way.
Come on, brother.
Trying to make ourselves, we don't want people to know we're going through a struggle.
Exactly.
We don't want people to know that we've had failures, even as an entrepreneur. We don't want people to know that we've struggled in whatever. And the bottom line is that's how we help other people, man. When we can tell somebody,
come on,
you know, I can be honest and tell people, yeah, man, you know, now I know I look good bald head. I don't care what y'all say, you know. Like Ali used to say, man, I'm still pretty. You know?
Exactly. Yep, there it is.
You know, it's just that people spend so much effort and they get so distracted by trying to maintain the exterior that they don't focus on the interior, which is where you really develop and grow.
That's it.
So when you were telling me, for example, about the show and I didn't get a chance to ask you because we jumped online, but what about this? Why do this? Because you gainfully employed in a job that you love, and you told me about it, you know, and so here you are, you got that, but there's something in you, there's some desire that you have, there's some kernel of inspiration that puts you in a position where now you're doing this, and you told me you've gone through times where you're tired and the whole 9 yards, but you're still doing it. So why are you doing it? What keeps you going, man? I'm gonna flip the script on the interview.
All right, Dad. and for my people who are listening and watching, you know, sometimes this doesn't happen like that. So I do like it when people flip the script, so y'all can just know a little bit more about Life Coach Jeff out here. So the reason why, the thing that keeps me going is the fact that when I had a talk with God years ago, when I wanted to start this life coaching thing, I said, Lord, I want to do something to help people, but I just don't want to be the person that says I want to do something to help people. It has to be meaningful. And I took the life coaching course and everything. And as I started going through it, I said, Lord, this is what I do all the time. We're talking to people. Like a lot of older people will ask me for advice, and I never understood why. I'm like, okay, I know why all these people venting to me, but okay. But they saying I got good things to say.
Okay.
And I said, okay. So I know how to put in a little bit of accountability, and I know how to be relatable to people. That's the biggest thing. And the only way you're relatable to people is being transparent through your own experiences.
Say that again, bro.
The only way you can be relatable to people is being transparent through your own experiences, people. So once I realized that I could do that, I had one of my friends tell me one day, he said, Jeff, I can see why people think that like with how you carry yourself, that it can come off cocky. And he said, I know you're not being cocky, but a lot of people aren't comfortable with themselves to tell the shortcomings about themselves in their life and be okay with it. He said, Jeff, you could tell your whole story and you don't care what people are going to think. He said, you'd be surprised. It's a lot of people that wish they could do that. And I said, okay, you on to something. And shout out to my boy Jared for that, because when Jared really told me that, he really made me put something into perspective and really think about the direction I want to go in terms of coaching. And I said, you know what? I'm networking with some people and I want to get in the radio. This is how this whole Jeff Releford show started off with Miss Dinah Lynn Biggs and everything. I have a mentor. I always tell people, get you a good mentor out here, because my mentor had been pushing me and telling me to do the podcast. So I started doing the podcast on my own. But then he was like, Jeff, you want to do radio? Why don't you reach out to Dinah Lynn? So he made it happen. We talked. And brother, I've only been doing this for like not even a year and a half.
Okay, good for you, man.
Just the amount of people that I've met, and what keeps me going with all this and what really motivates me is the fact that I know I can reach more people with my message this way. Some people don't have faith in radio. Oh, I have a lot of faith in radio. Just look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers. Look at the numbers for internet radio. Look at the numbers for terrestrial radio as a whole. I told you we started doing Spotlight Radio. And we've only been doing that on WYCA 102.3 Rejoice for only 2 months. And the amount of listenership and organic calls that we get It is insane.
Okay.
From old to young.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be hard to reach the old church.
Okay.
No, it's not. Because again, if you're creating content that's relatable to people, it will be interesting to them, and they're going to call because they can relate to it.
Right.
So they're going to give you the whole nine. And I started saying, you know, Jeff, you have a gift for this.
Okay.
Just run with it.
Okay.
And I don't care about the journey it's going to take me down, because as long as I'm staying true to this, that's what I know is going to open up the doors.
But see, what happens, Jeff, is that so many people, and I'm not throwing shade on anybody, but so many people are trying to drive 70, but they're looking in the rearview mirror.
And that's it.
How do they look?
That's it. That's it.
How do they look?
And you can't worry about that. You can't worry about that.
Just go forward.
And that's what it is. And I tell people, when it comes to this part, there are a lot of people worried about numbers. There are a lot of people worried about, I don't think nobody's listening to me. It doesn't matter. Because the name of the game for anything is consistency. I preach this all the time on the show. Consistency. Y'all, even if I'm not live, little radio secret, sometimes we record our shows and we have them on playback. People don't have to know that we here in the studio. I'm just being honest and I'm being transparent. I'm just sharing with y'all how a little bit of this works. Y'all can turn on Ricky Smiley in the morning and y'all know it because y'all are here the same show that y'all heard 2 days ago. So this is no secret. This is how this works, because you need time to rest. You need time to think about different ideas. Brother, I got so much stuff behind the scenes that people don't know about.
Right.
That I'm trying to develop and do, because it's part of that. It's that moving portion. I understand that there's an audience that I have. I've built that a little bit.
Sure.
I'm trying to build it more. But I know once I launch this, now we build.
There you go.
We already got, okay, I'm going to say this. If ever y'all want to know how to really build something, have somebody go out, do some research for you. Or you could do the research yourself. And what you do is you get some, I rock with my guy, Malachi. Shout out to Malachi Moore. He's done my my logo for Redirect, Regroup, Refocus, the whole nine, all of that. I keep him as my graphics guy to the point to where he doesn't even do work for other people.
Wow.
Because they asked me, Jeff, can you get this guy to do something? I said, I can ask him, but he might say no, because he works on other projects and I have him doing specific stuff for me.
Okay.
And we got in contact with this Korean company. And this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Because whenever y'all want to know how to like create a form something, just know that everything don't always have to be Americanized. Always know that. It's always somebody in another country who can develop something, who can do something for you. I'm just trying to help, because these things happen to be a little bit cheaper.
Absolutely.
Because you start to realize in business, your dollar can go a long way if you put it in the right area.
Right.
So something that would have cost me maybe about $5,000-$6,000 to develop in America, maybe even more, only cost me $650.
See, you had to take advantage of that.
I had to take advantage of it.
Right.
So, and that's that movement, that's that work, you know, and that's part of what's pushing me too, because the platform is not, again, I say the platform is not for me, it's for the people.
Right.
So what I have to do is I'm talking on the platform. I have my own platform.
Okay.
I'm a part of another platform off Calumet Avenue. But the thing is, all of this is so that people can just hear the message. So then when I create my own stuff, now they get to see the message come full circle.
But you said something earlier that was really important, and that's about community. That's kind of a good full circle to bring. Community is what it's all about, and that's what I lost sight of. I've always been immersed in the community, but it was because I wanted this, right?
Okay.
And what I realized is that the secret of living is giving.
Brother, that's it. That is
it's serving, man. And so I flipped the script and I put, this is where we are right now in our business. And my wife is always, she's a wonderful, I've been married for 38 years to a wonderful woman.
Shout out to the wife, 38 years in the house.
Yeah. The same woman too, by the way, not two.
Go ahead.
But one.
Yes, sir.
And that wasn't no shade on anybody. I'm just saying that people say, how many times you've been married? Once. But God bless her, because she's one of the most focused, gifted people that I know. But one of the things I had to learn about myself and is that she told me this. She said, even when we first started the business, she said, you were starstruck on some stuff. You know, I met some people that were in the business, rocking.
Yeah.
You know, and then I visited a person who actually helped to train the people that I met originally in the business. I went to spend some time with this guy. He's in his maybe he's in his late 70s now, and he's sold all of his businesses now, but he does training. So he's the guy who helped develop the technique that we have to do these over 250 flavors. And I brought you some, by the way.
My man,
I brought you caramel pecan.
Oh Lord.
I brought you cheese coated caramel, and I brought you some of my Miller movie pop. You know,
y'all don't understand. See y'all, this stuff.
See, the man who gives gifts have many friends.
Come on, you ain't lying, sir, man. And because I'm telling you, y'all don't understand, man. When this man first opened up, I wondered, and I saw the sign go up, and I was trying to figure out when y'all was gonna open.
Right.
I used to ball all the time over there at Stardust.
Okay, right up the street. Yeah.
I used to ball all the time at Stardust. I would always take that way going east home because I stayed in Portage.
Okay.
So I started looking one day. I was like, dang, what's this? I said, popcorn, candy factory. I said, this is a calculated move. It makes sense. I don't know what these people are doing right here, but that's smart. Because you can go get your candy from there and come right around the way and get you some popcorn.
Right.
And I didn't know it was, y'all, when I tell you, you first walk in and like he's telling you he has this much popcorn. But when you see it, it's so many choices, so many different flavors of pop. I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. And I've seen when people walk in there for the first time, they are so enamored by what you have in there.
Yeah, they stop at the floor. They stop.
They literally stop in the middle of the floor.
That's what it looked like.
Oh man, y'all. Let me see. Okay, go on. We're gonna put the camera right on you. Point it right to that one.
That right there.
That one right there. Now look. Okay, now y'all. That is when you walk inside. There's literally tubs and bins of popcorn with all these flavors, and I don't even know how you have all the time to think about all of that stuff.
Yeah,
bro.
We take flavor suggestions from people.
This is okay, brother. We're gonna have to. You know what? We're gonna have to run this live over a little bit because we only got 4 minutes. We just been talking, and I didn't know time was flying this fast.
Yeah, it's rolling.
I don't know if you got a few more minutes. Maybe we could go. We gonna go. Okay, y'all, my Biggs Radio family, I love y'all, and we have to get off in like 2 minutes because we got to get ready for Mixtape Monday with Julian St. Chris. So real quick, you need to say your name, everything that you're affiliated with, shout out where the business is located and where they can find you because they need to give you money.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Chicagoland Popcorn. And our website is www.chicagolandpopcorn.com. We have our main location right across from Albanese. That's the 4 acres and the original building that we have right across from Albanese, 5470 East Lincoln Highway, Maryville, Indiana. And then we have our second location, which is where we need some help, y'all. We're in Miller Beach. It's Gary, but it's 5975 East Melton Road, right across from the McDonald's on Lake Street and 20 in Gary. And that's our satellite store. We're rebounding in that store because we took a lot of flavors out. You know, I was throwing out popcorn because it wasn't we weren't selling over there, but we're on the up right now. So come out to there. And if you just mention the radio show when you come to the Miller location only, you mention the radio show, we'll give you guys 10% off, and we'll donate 10% to the charity of this man's choice.
Oh, that is awesome. Yep. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. That is awesome. So y'all solicit this man. Go see this man. Know who he is. This is Mr. Dwayne Walker of Chicagoland Popcorn, y'all. So many flavors. What would you say? 250 flavors?
Over 250 recipes.
Over 250 recipes, y'all. Just name a few. Like he said, what is this?
That's the movie butter.
Movie butter popcorn, cheese salted,
cheese coated
caramel, and then caramel pecan. I love caramel pecan.
See, I didn't know that.
Right.
See,
you did right.
Following the spirit, right?
It is. Follow the spirit. Amen to that. And listen, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning into the Jeff Releford Show on Biggs Radio Chicago, the voice of a new generation. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank
and listen, if you want to give away a few of these keys, y'all got to come to the YouTube page. We might be on for like 15 more. Is 15 minutes okay?
Man, I'm good.
15 to okay, look, we're gonna get 15, 20 minutes. We still staying on live. So if you're on the YouTube or the Facebook, we on live, but we got to get off Biggs.
Yeah.
So y'all migrate if you want to, but I'm letting you know. Jeff Releford, Google me. Go to the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus YouTube, or go to my Facebook page, Jeff Releford. We are still on live talking to Mr. Dwayne Walker. So remember, y'all, Redirect, Regroup, Refocus, and I love y'all so very much. And peace out. All right, y'all. We just got off Biggs, but we still live because I can't do y'all like this, man. This was great. We just been talking, and man, I listen, man. What I admire about you again is your spirit. It's how you move around with all of this. You seem like you are just positive all the time, and I love positivity all the time. I had a guy tell me at work. He was like, Jeff, I was just telling my wife about you because it just seemed like nothing bothers you. I said, well, stuff can get on my nerves, and I might say some stuff sometimes. But I said, at the end of the day, you do have to have that inner peace about yourself. And I can tell, brother, that you have done the work to at least know who you are and have that inner peace with yourself. Because everybody don't carry themselves the way that you carry yourself.
Yeah, but you know, one of the things that I found is a lot of people look good on the outside, but on the inside, they're going through challenges. They're going through, and I resemble that remark. I might be, you know, it might be a situation where people look at me and I don't let them see the kinks in my armor, so to speak. But we go through it too, man. I was telling somebody the other day that, in fact, I talked to a gentleman today who wrote a book. My father, when I was coming up, was a alcoholic and a drug abuser. But he was functional because he was a journeyman welder, and he made me learn how to weld and take some classes and stuff. But he became a foreman, never missed work, not much, if at all, because he was functional, but he had this thing. And then he had a couple of dope houses and the whole 9 yards. But he got clean, and he was clean for 19 years before he died.
Wow.
And he was already my best friend, but then he really became, because I was grown, he became my best friend. And one of the things that I was talking to a gentleman about today is that I'm just now starting to realize and reconcile some of the stuff that I had to deal with in there. Because remember, I told you I'm not where I really thought I was going to be when I started this. And not just because as an entrepreneur, I didn't have a support system. It's also because I wasn't looking at myself and looking at who I was a certain way. Remember, I mean, I told the story about the hair, and I said that because I was so focused on, I was falling into the game. That's good too, ain't it, by the way?
Man.
You over there smacking, boy.
I'm trying to be quiet so y'all can hear the man's story. I'm trying to be quiet so y'all can just like hear it. But this butter pecan is fire. I remember having the cheese coated caramel.
Yeah, man. That's you
need a
napkin when you eat that.
Man, you do. I tried. I'm sorry. Keep talking.
But you know, it's funny. I'll tell you a story. My wife told me to stop telling this story because I grew up in the country. You know, I was born in Detroit, but we moved to a little country town called Romulus, and then I spent all of my summers in Louisiana. But in summer, they used to say it was vacation. And I wasn't until I got to be older, and I said, you know what, this is indentured servanthood. They were bringing us down at work, you know. But I learned how to work, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I learned is that the story I would tell is I told my wife when I'm eating my one of my favorite is caramel sea salt. Right? I eat a bag of caramel sea salt, and you know, you get down to the end of the bag and you've eaten all the kernels out, and it's funny because I'll be in the house by myself and I still look around to make sure anybody watches. and I just take my hand and I stick it up through the bag so the bag is turned inside out, and then I lick that bad boy, man. My wife said, "Stop telling people that story. You sound so country." I said, "Baby, it's good.
Like, if it's that good,
it's that good, man."
I'm trying. See, he is telling y'all about his own popcorn.
I still eat it.
Now, just know this man made it himself, and he is eating it. Man, if y'all not convinced.
But back to helping some folk who have a wrong impression of themselves and sometimes think that just you don't show a problem, have a problem. Yeah, there's so many people walking through life right now conflicted, man.
Very conflicted,
having challenges, and they think they're all alone. And that's one of the reasons I wrote this book. Is that I think that people get the answers. One of the quotes I have in is by a person by the name of Pearl Bailey. Remember her? She was an actress. African-American actress, Pearl Bailey. She said, people see God every day, but not everybody recognizes it. And
very true statement.
And so one of the things that I would encourage somebody to do is anybody that's listening who might be going through some stuff right now, first of all, you are never alone if you know God.
Come on.
All right. And so I ain't gonna preach, but I'm gonna tell you, you're never alone. You're never alone. And so when I get in those times where I'm challenged and I'm conflicted and I have temptations just like everybody else, man, to want to quit, or sometimes I want to just somebody will do something wrong and I want to go. I had to tell one dude, I had to get in his face and tell him. I said, look, bro, you better be glad you're dealing with the AD Dwayne and not the BC Dwayne.
Well, well, let them know, sir. Sometimes they need to know.
Don't let this suit fool you.
I'm trying to tell you,
man,
brother.
I'm from Detroit, bro. And my daddy had dope houses. I used to ride with him sometime when he collected.
Oh,
I've seen a couple things.
You seen that?
I know how to get my money.
Okay.
If I have,
I ain't like the look he gave me, y'all. Like I took his money. Y'all didn't see that?
No.
I should have put the camera right on. I'm just
but people go through things, man.
Yeah.
And this is I'll say it this
way.
Yeah,
you were looking at the D's, right?
Yeah, the D's. I call it the 5 D's. Right?
Okay.
And I'll read this. I said, although this is not an all-inclusive list, the enemy cleverly uses these 5 strategies, I call them the 5 Ds, to carry out his obstruction mission. Obstruction meaning to keep you from where you're supposed to go, to keep you from your destiny. And so he either tries to destroy you, and he can't do that. If he did, he would already been destroyed.
That's it.
That's a farce, That's they say you've been bamboozled. He can't destroy you.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. So he can't destroy you. Then he'll try to distract you. And if he can't distract you, let me, before I get off the distract, one of the things I talk about is that if somebody can't meet you head on and stop you, then what they might do is run alongside of you and whisper in your ear, go this way, go that way. They distract you. They distract you. If they can't stop you, they'll distract you. So if he can't destroy you, distract you, then the next thing he'll try to do is discourage you. And if he can't discourage you, then he'll try to derail you.
Come on.
And then the last thing is if none of those fail and you are still balling in the game, then what he'll try to do is discredit you. Think about it. I think about it, and I ain't throwing no shade on him because he was an awesome influence in the industry of entertainment and the whole 9 yards. But think about Bill Cosby as an example. I'll use him as an example. Balling. Got everybody looking up to me. Just celebrated a birthday, and I still think he's one of the geniuses of our time with what he decided to do. But what happens is that when you get discredited, your influence is significantly diminished.
Oh yeah.
You all have this call thing that you want to do, but you can't do it because you're derailed, you're discredited. And so what this book is that it's all of these different categories have different declarations in them. So if you need some encouragement in a certain area, you find it in there, and it shows the Bible verses and stuff that I used in that area. But I tell people, don't read this book like a regular novel. The front part 1, you can read like that, and part 3, but part 2 with all these declarations, you get into it and study it and chew on it.
Yes.
Kyle's, this is kind of a trivia, some country boy. Kyle's have 4 stomachs. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not know that.
So Kyle's have 4 stomachs, and if you can Google it now and look on YouTube, if you see a picture of a cow, they standing there, they're not eating anything, but they're standing there chewing. And you say, how are they chewing? It take that long to eat some grass? Exactly. What they do is they eat it, and then it goes down in one stomach, and certain nutrition comes out of it in that stomach. Then they regurgitate it and they chew it again, and it goes into a second stomach, and then a different nutrient is absorbed in that stomach than the other one. Then they regurgitate it again and chew it, and it goes down into a third stomach, and something else has gotten out of it in that stomach. And then they do the same thing, regurgitate it and get it up in their mouth, and then they swallow it again, and it goes into that 4th stomach, and then you get the cow pies right after that. It comes out. But they've gone into 4 different stages and gotten the nutrients out of that. But how often do we do that? We ski over this, man. We go to church and we go from Sunday to Sunday and don't don't read the words. Sunday night to Saturday night, we don't read the word, and we go to church and see we got it flipped. Church shouldn't be practice. I'm sorry, church shouldn't be the game. Church should be practice, because the game is what you do Sunday night through Saturday night. Yep. You're in the game now, and that's how we're supposed to be living. And so we go to church, and some people got it flipped. Church becomes the show.
Exactly.
We're talking about the exterior and everything. So I said all that to say that in this book I talk about ways of overcoming that. And then the other thing I did is just to talk a little bit about my Muhammad Ali experience, because I want to talk about the fact that you cannot separate your spiritual life from any other area of your life, because that's who you are. Your spirit, you're a spirit.
And that's the thing.
That's your true thing. And I won't go into that. I read something this morning in my devotional. I'm reading my own book doing again.
Okay, there you go.
But I just want to encourage people in the community, man. I'm not doing this business just because I want to make money. I'm not writing books and now ramping up my speaking business just for the dollars and the money. I'm doing it because I want to see people win, man. I'm so tired of people coming into my shops that complain about. I'll give you one story and then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I had a lady who came into the store and she's telling me, she said, she brought this up. She said, hey, I'm a little depressed. I'm getting divorced. And so I'm on the other side of the counter. I'm bagging her stuff up. And I just, again, listened to my heart. I said, so you're getting divorced. I said, can I ask you a question? And she said, yeah. I said, how long were you married? And she said 6 months. And so I didn't laugh. I looked at her and I said, 6 months. I said, I said, can I tell you something? Because she went on and telling me stories and the whole night. And I interrupted her and I said, can I tell you something you need to do? And she said, what's that? I said, you need to forgive 2 people. And she had already brought up some stuff about her son who I guess had an altercation with her now ex-husband and the whole 9 yards. And I looked at her, I said, you need to forgive 2 people. And I said, the first one you need to forgive is yourself. And then this next one shocked her and got mad. I thought she was going to take her earrings off and put Vaseline on and come at me, bro. Because I looked at her and said, the second one you need to forgive is your ex-husband. And she swole up at me when I said that. And she said, I don't know if I can do that. And she went down this pathway again. I said, let me tell you a story about somebody that I know. I said, they had a little brother who was 40-some years ago who was robbed and shot and killed. And it was eating him up. Eating him up. He was going to the police station, working with the police. The most wanted, unsolved mysteries did a deal on the show. Yeah, and because with unsolved, his brother that was shot and killed was a pre-dentistry student. He was 19 years old, taking his girlfriend home. He saw a guy who he thought was hurt, so he stopped to help him. And the guy was laying on the curb, and he thought it was a guy legitimately hurt. Turned out to be a scam. Anyway, he got robbed, shot, and killed. And I said, I told her that story, and she was like, "What does this have to do with anything?" I said, "Well, the guy whose brother that was is me, and I was the guy going to Detroit trying to find out who did this and everything." And I said, I had to forgive the guy who did it. I never met him, don't know who he is. They never caught him. I said, but I had to forgive him. And she said, forgive him. I said, not for him, for me,
for you.
Because it was eating me up. And so many people get tricked with trauma instead of using it as fuel to go forward and actually shed the anchors that are holding them back, man. You got to let go of that stuff. And I'm not saying it don't hurt, it does hurt. I miss my little brother. I was looking at his pictures almost every, when I'm in my office, and I got them up on the wall. I'm gonna say every day because I don't. That'd be a lie, But I do look at him when I'm in the office, and I'll think about him. And on his birthday, I always remember his birthday and the whole 9 yards. But I had to forgive the guy who did that. And so I just wanted to. I feel like I need to just talk to somebody out there who going through some stuff. It may not be a loss like that. It may not be a relationship at all. It might be just money problems right now, and you're going through it. And I'm telling you, if you trust in God, and you put yourself in a situation where you're vulnerable and you allow yourself to be how can I say this? The word works. But we have so many other things that we try before we get to the word.
Exactly.
How about trying that first?
Exactly.
Getting up in the morning and trying that. And like you said earlier when we were talking, you said, man, you got to get that grind on. You got to do that. Somebody I was talking to told me this today. They said, you can plant a seed, but somebody got to go pull the weeds. Somebody go to have. Oh, I know it was Lewis who said this today. We were talking. Lewis said he was sitting out on his balcony, looking out. He saw the birds flying. They were going down, getting worms and stuff out of the ground. He was thinking. He said, "You know what? God made the worms for the birds, but they got to fly out that nest to go get them. Ain't no worms coming up to the nest saying, 'Hey, eat me.'"
Exactly.
Right? And so
that's it.
My point is, we go through challenges, man. We go through stuff, but how are we handling when we go through stuff? Who are we talking to? What are we reading? What are we reading? Who are we praying to? What what are we thinking about ourselves? But the enemy deceives us, man, to the point where he gets us thinking less about ourselves than we really are. So,
and the thing is, you know, a lot of times I always tell people your faith has to be very strong to be out here in the world and to be incorporated in certain things, even with us. You know, you got to remember, we meeting a lot of people all the time. We're connecting. We're sharing our stories with people. Some people that probably don't even need to hear the story.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But it's that knowing of who we are and to know who God is. Like you said, we tried the word first. If you try the word first, that's what's going to build you up. But a lot of times people don't try the word first is because they haven't, one, like you said earlier, they haven't read it. And two, they tried halfway. Like they partially believe what it say, but it's like I always tell people, I said, there's no reason why you should believe in a God that you believe is everything and capable of doing whatever, but to still be going back thinking about the same issues and problems that you've had. You are not able to release. You need to be able to let go. You have to stand out of the way so you could go ahead and let God do his thing. Because it's only so much you can control until everything gets out of control.
But here's the thing, and I wrote this down in my journal today.
Okay.
I said, why don't more people help and encourage others? That's the question. I'm sitting there just pondering that.
Okay.
I said, because they're dealing with problems that they have been waiting. They're dealing with problems that they're waiting until they've won before they can actually tell somebody.
Yeah.
See, what happens is that why wait to share a smile? I said that, you know, I wrote this in my journal before I left the house. This was at 7 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
And so I made a point. I wrote that in my journal. Why wait to share a smile? So I made a point every time I met somebody today, I smiled. I purposely did it.
Yeah.
I said, hey, how you doing? You know, just smiling and to get the response back.
Yeah.
But I said, why wait to share a smile or a word of encouragement? And then I said, Joseph showed compassion while he was in prison, you know, and that positioned him for his destiny. So, and I won't get into that preach, but then the last thing I'll say is this, is that, and I read this yesterday at, it's today, Monday. I guess this was today too. I read.
Okay.
It says God's word. I heard this. It says God's world is a world of abundance, and he releases it to us in accordance with our ability to steward and manage it well. And so I'm gonna give you the show. There you go. And so I'm walking up. And so it's yours. I told a brother. I told a brother today. I said, "Man, I'm gonna say this to you, and I wasn't trying to throw shade. Yeah. I said, bro, we need to focus on management and stewardship instead of focusing on the grind and going out to get it. Yeah. Because we can grow up and grind and get it. But then what happens when we bring it home? Are we using it wisely? Come on. Because we think this word ain't working. This God thing ain't working. Well, it's not working because you're not managing well. That's it. What you have. That's it. So we focus on management. Me, myself, I'm focusing on management. That's what I've been doing today. Yeah. Focused on that's awesome, man. So anyway. But you're doing it. And see, this is why we do the show, because it's to have people that are actually doing it on here and trying. It's to be that living example for people. Because you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't have that living example to see. You know, somebody could just be going through right now. I had one of the brothers who watched the interview that I did with Lewis, and now he loves the content. He likes the message that is given. Okay. Because he says it's something that I can pull from, I can glean from. From how he's talking, he didn't really know anybody who was doing it like that before he came across my content. He might have known some people, but to watch my shows, you know, I believe the brother is, he set up, he gave me the like, Joseph Coleman was one of them I talked to, but it was the other young brother who had the photo booth business. Oh, yes. Nice guy. Very nice guy. Yeah. And to hear his story, because he gonna sit in the chair too. Yeah. Because to awesome hear his story, I hollered at him already, man. Brother. I was encouraged. Man. And see, that's what we have to do with each other. People need to hear that in order to be encouraged, because if they all think they gotta, if you winning already, come on, right? If you winning already or have won, and people look at you, I call it the internet image of life. See, what happens is people get all dialed up. Yeah, they clean their house all up. That's what they do. And then they take photos for the internet, for their YouTube or their Instagram, whatever, and they push that up, and you think, oh man, they got that wonderful life. Man, you don't understand. Outside the camera, it'd be tore up from the floor. I'm trying to tell you, right? And they got all kind of challenges going on. And I'm not throwing shade, because this is the same way with me. We all want to look good, smell good, and feel good. But the problem that I'm saying is that you're not helping anybody if you don't really just transparently tell people who you are and what you're going through. Man, be real.
That's it, brother.
Be real.
And I tell people that all the time. When you get to talking with people, you have to show them who you are. That's how you want to change somebody's life. Show them the realness in you through your trials, through your tribulations.
Vulnerability.
Yes, vulnerability through your shortcomings, just through everything. You want to change people's lives? Be honest with people. Because people can tell when you lie and you over embellish. It's in today's world, it's very easy to check receipts.
Right?
It's very easy to check your receipts in today's world. Google is Jeff's best friend. I got a couple other secrets that I try to do to find some people information too. I ain't gonna give that away because everybody don't need to know what to do. Some of y'all become crazy with all that stuff. So I don't want to set nobody off. No. But information is out there. That's the point I'm trying. Information is out there. And why would you want to lie about something or try to build something up when you could just be honest, put the truth out there? So then when somebody say, oh yeah, he did talk about that, all that does is add to your credibility.
Right.
Like we were talking about.
I heard somebody, they said something about me because I was going through a struggle in an area, something to do with business. I can't remember. And they said, well, fake it till you make it. And I looked at him. I said, So I ain't gonna fake it. I'm gonna faith it. Faith. Faith it till I make it.
Yes, sir.
And he looked at me and I said, man, and all due respect, I said, I'm not gonna fake nothing. If I'm going through a problem, I'm gonna let you know. I got an answer to a challenge that I needed. I needed it to a large sum of money. To get something taken care of. In fact, I'll just be real transparent, to purchase the building that we have and to and the 4 acres. Yeah. And when I met this individual at an event I was at, he asked me a question and he said, how things going? And my normal answer is I look right at him in the face. I said, man, things are popping. And they look at, oh, things are popping. I said, yeah, things are good. Things are going well. And the challenge is that if you meet somebody, if you come up to somebody and they ask you how things going and you faking it. I didn't do that. I looked at him. I said, you know what I might need to use you as a reference. And he said, a reference? I said, yeah, man, I'm thinking about going back and get a job because I know I can go tear down, some chips. You know what they say? When you add a comma, you eliminate some drama. You know what they say?
Come on, brother. Hey, I'll lift the popcorn up to that. Okay.
I said I need to add 2 commas. I need to go out. I need to get out. And so I said, man, I'm thinking about going back. And he said, wow, what are you trying to do? And I ended up telling him. And when I got done talking to him, he said, well, what do you want to do with your organization, with your business? And I told him, he said, oh man, I'd like to get involved with that. And I walked away with a solution.
Really?
When I went there, I had a problem, but because I was not faking it and I was transparent, I got an answer to a prayer. And so here's where we are. We praying about something. Or we believing for something, and then when we running around talking to people, we faking trying to look like
that's it.
We don't have no issues with our hair, My hair is tight. It wasn't right. Remember, that's why I'm bald right now. So I just want to encourage you all to be transparent. You got to watch who you. I told somebody the other day, in corporate America, I hired slow, and I fired fast.
Okay.
Hired slow, fired fast, and I had that same principle with friends. With friends. They work themselves into my inner circle real slow. I hire slow, but I kick them out fast. And what I mean by that is, I was telling him, I said, look, man, you need to let somebody prove. And I'm not saying they got to prove their friendship, but you need to let some time pass with people.
Exactly.
To get some experience with them. Let them see where they're coming from.
I agree.
I'm not saying not be cordial and everything. Yeah. But to be real, just like we saw each other the other day for the first time. But the reason that it was real and it was like we had missed a beat is because the first time we met, we had that connection.
Yeah, we did.
Right, because we got through the surface stuff. We was straight up real, and I didn't know you were doing all the stuff you were doing. And
this years you met me way
That's
before.
But still,
it's crazy,
right?
How everything just comes full circle.
Yeah. So, but man, I'm excited, man. I really am excited about this opportunity, and so I think there's some people out there that just need to start being transparent. Yeah. Need to plug in. Yeah. Especially the show. If you having content like this on here, man, I'll be plugging in, checking.
Oh yeah, man. Whenever I have guests on, the whole purpose is to have guests who are moving and doing things. I started off interviewing a lot of people who were in Chicago with the industry, like a lot of your underground rappers, your artists, and everything.
Yeah.
And when you start getting to them, you start to realize that it's big, but when you start narrowing down, you start knowing who the people who are actually doing it. It's a lot of people who will just be local and won't get out of the local. Some of y'all enjoy the local. Let me say this because I'm live. Again, I get it. Some of y'all like the local, and some of y'all don't want to move out of that because of what it brings. You do have notoriety. You do have a lot of street cred that come along with it. But for some of my people, and I will name names because I name drop, and just because I didn't say your name, that don't mean that you ain't doing nothing. I'm just letting you know the people that I've been seeing rocking. Shout out to Cypher Sick Bishop. This man has show after show after show. Shout out to Queen Jay Ashari, who was just in Japan. My sister was just in Japan doing a whole bunch of stuff. I had a great episode with her, and I got her before she really started moving like that. Same with DJ K Caesar. He sat in the chair. I had him before he really got going. Like he was doing some big stuff with Power 92. This is right. I think I want to say either right before or after he went to Dubai to go ahead and play overseas for them. So people wasn't tapped in, but I said, no. I need to get this man now. It's crazy, man.
But you know, Jeff, let me ask you a question because when you have these people on, where do you hear about them? How do you find them? What happens?
A lot of it is I can be going to different parties or events. And with my manager, we have a system. And I'm gonna tell y'all, get a system out here. Have a strategy with who you want to network with in the room.
Right.
Because you would think you have to talk to everybody. But me and my manager always say, if we can get at least 3 people, 4 is a plus. If we can get 3 people that's heavy hitters in the room and they actually have something to contribute to the show, we done our job. Because that's content, and we know the people are gonna give great content. You know, my manager was supposed to be there with me that night at the mixer as well.
Oh, really?
She was. Yeah, she was supposed to be there, but she just couldn't make it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's our strategy. So when we go out to these events and shows, I'm very strategic because I don't want riffraff either. I already told you.
Right.
I don't need all that crazy brought to my show.
Right.
And people that I see them when they out, but when they sit in the chair, they know what to bring.
Right.
So I tell the artist, I want to highlight you. If you're going to come on here, we're going to highlight you in a different way.
So let me tell you a story about an artist, and I'm not going to name his name.
Okay.
I got
you can tell me after the show.
I got on a plane. Yeah, I'll tell you after the show. I got on a plane flying to this meeting.
Okay.
I'm in this Next Level Speaking Academy because I told you my game is I want to take my speaking to the next level. And so I'm letting some people who have done that already to train me. They're my coaching, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so I get on the plane, and I ain't gonna name the airline, but you'll know who it is when I tell you this. Where you get loaded in groups, right? You get the A group, the B group, the C group.
Yeah, I know that.
So I was the A group. I got on the A group, and it was me on the outside aisle, right up front, about 3 seats back. That's my sweet spot where I like rocking.
Okay.
And then over against the window was somebody else. So we had this seat in the middle, and they started making the announcement: completely full flight, the bag, you need to check it. And I kept praying. I said, okay, Lord, let me have a real petite little person sit right here in the middle of us. I said, I don't want nobody big like me in there.
Yeah,
I want to be a smaller person. So this little girl came by, I was smiling and stuff. She walked by and went, oh man, that ain't her. And this dude that was as big as me walked in. I was like, Lord, I hope that ain't the one. That ain't the one. He walked by like, woo. And then this medium size, just a regular size, bruh. You know, like maybe when I was younger, he came. He says, "This seat taken?" I said, "No," and he sat down. He's a regular looking dude, man. And you know me, if you sit down with me for more than 5 minutes, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions.
Oh yeah, you talking?
So I'm gonna talk about. I introduce myself, and then I'm talking to him and ask him where he's from, where he's going. He tells me he's on his way to New York.
Okay.
And so I look at him and I said, I look at him. I said, so you living in LA? And my first thought was, I said, okay, he went out to LA trying to make it, and he's struggling because in that conversation he also said, and I'm looking for another place. I'm looking for where I want to stay. And I'm thinking he got out to LA, and that LA price thing then jumped
and hit him. Yeah,
he hit him. And this is what my thoughts were. I wasn't judging him, but
you weren't judging.
I thought was, I'm talking.
Because that's usually the story.
And so then I asked him. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, God gives us all some gifts and talents. And I said, so what's one of yours? And I said, you told me you're in music, and you talked about the instruments you play and all of that stuff. And so you're a producer. And I said, I get all that. I said, so what's the end game? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And we started talking. And this is when the conversation took a left.
Okay.
For me, because I had an assumption. I started talking about my book because we had some questions. He had some questions about some of the stuff I was talking. And I referred to my book. And I shared with him, and then I said, so he said, well, my father's has published like 12 or 13 books. I said, really? And he said, yeah. And then he said, I think he's helping some people get started in the whole 9 yards. And he talked about his father had the doctorate degree and was a pastor, and his mom has a PhD or at least a master's, and then he got some siblings that got masters and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, and this is the struggling artist guy. I still got this thought in my head.
Exactly.
Because he said, but I went 1 year of college and I dropped out. And I said, really? And so I said, so you said you're on your way to New York? And he said, yeah. I said, so let me ask you a question, man. Who's some of the people you produce for? And he started naming some names. And I said, really? I said, really?
Got taken aback.
I got taken aback. He said, really? And I said, oh, and I'm at the show because I don't want to throw him out there, but I'm using him for my opening for my keynote. This story about him, because I want people to understand that my keynote is called Community of Champions. Man, we all around people that are champions. Yeah. When I met Ali was a champion because he was all in this thing called life, right? And I meet people, when I meet people like this young man, it excites me because I get to see people who are letting out the gifts and talents that they have. Yeah. So he starts telling me who he works with, and then here's where we took another left. Okay. I said, so what you doing on your way to New York? He said, well, I'm going to meet my stylist. I said, what you going to meet your stylist for? He said, well, I got to get some new drip. I said, you need to get some new drip. He said, yeah, I normally don't play for my artist. He said, I normally am behind the scenes, I'm studio, but this particular artist, we're going to do some stuff on TV, and then he's touring, and I'm going to go on tour with him. And I said, really? He said, yeah, I'm going to do that. He said, then when I get back, I'm going to be looking for a place. And I said, so why are you moving? He said, well, now that I'm financially secure, I can live wherever I want to live. And I won't go through the rest of the story just in the interest of time. But my point was, here I am talking to this young man, real humble young man. And some of the people Grammy nominated, won Grammy that he's working with. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this dude, but when he talked about playing 5 instruments and the whole 9 yards, there's people out there right now in this life. I never would have found that out about him if I didn't ask him and talk to him. And then he gave me his father's information, gave me his number. I talked to him a few weeks ago. I talked to his father and found out some stuff about publishing, the whole 9 yards. My point is that he's out doing what he does. As we meet people, if we be transparent, if we are transparent with people, I never would have had that conversation with him if I would have sitting up there, how you doing, young man? And then I put my headphones on and I just, but you got to engage people. So I'm telling you all the answer. You might be on an elevator tomorrow with the person who can answer your issue and not know it because you don't open your mouth and say hi, or you don't greet some people, but you get in your feelings and you start focusing on yourself. So you got that mean mug on your face instead of just saying hi to people and greeting people. Your answer might be right next door to you, might be across the street. It might be somebody you work with. It might be somebody that goes to your church, but because you fronting, faking, and not letting people know that you have challenges, or you're not greeting people and helping where you can, contributing where you can, throwing some seeds where you can, planting some seeds, you're not having a harvest off of seeds you've never sown. I'm gonna drop the mic on that.
Hey man, you have dropped gems, sir, and I'm telling you, I can keep talking to you. Yeah, man. Because we can keep talking.
I'm good.
Because this brother, I'm telling you, this brother, he has so much to give. And I'm telling, like you said, brother, the reason why we didn't miss a beat, and we have not missed a beat since we met, man, almost 10 years ago. almost 10 years ago, is because you were giving your real and I was giving my real.
That's the key.
And man, for the people out there, this man is just saying nothing but truth. I really hope. I always tell people, when you listen to the show, if you don't get nothing, you need to make sure you get something from the people that's sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
Because y'all gonna hear me 3 times out of the week. And if I don't have a guest, sometimes I get sick and tired of hearing myself talk. But when it's people like this sitting in the chair, he got something to say, and y'all need to listen. Y'all need to pay attention, because this is real life. This is what life is about. This type of authenticity. The man, and I will say this, I don't believe you would be able to have the success that you've had if you weren't being real and walking in your purpose in authenticity.
Right.
Because
if you faking it, it's gonna come out.
It's always gonna come out. Always gonna come out.
My daddy used to say, "Boy, you might as well tell me the truth, because if it don't come out in the wash, it's gonna come out in the rinse."
Sometimes that dye, when that dye come out in the rinse, baby, it come out. Trying to tell you. See, he ain't lying. Dropping knowledge in jails, man. And I love this, man. I love this, because see, people gotta understand that we're so used to one way of living. One way of living, and that's usually our own way. See, when I develop redirect, regroup, refocus, those 3 words actually have they have some meaning to them. Redirect is shifting the mindset, regroup is self-awareness, and refocus is call to action. So I believe with those 3 things, if you take the time to go ahead and just change the way you think, because you have to be willing to forget everything that you've learned previously.
Okay.
And that's one of the hardest things to do, to adopt a new principle in and to actually change your lifestyle. You have to get rid of some of them old practices and say, it's not crazy for me or wrong for me to want to try something different. I have to see what works for me. And then when you regroup with it, that's the self-awareness part. Now you get to thinking, how does the changes that I want to bring about have the opportunity to affect me?
Right.
How is it really going to look me in the face?
Right.
Am I going to be shocked because of this?
Right.
Is it going to be one of those things where I'm like, oh, okay, I could do this and maybe I could ease into it a little bit?
Right.
Or is it just something that, like, once I figure this out, I'm done? You know?
Well, you know what happens a lot of times is that we judge people by their actions and judge ourselves by our intentions.
Yes.
So we look at somebody and somebody say something to us, but they have the same thing, the tendencies and that type of thing. So we go through life and we don't engage them because we're looking at them, judging them, and we say, well, I'm not really like that. We judge ourselves. But what you're talking about right now is people just being real, man. That redirect.
Yep.
Redirect. Forgetting what you learned and no, just be real.
Yeah.
And don't always try to get the flag. Put your own flag up, man.
Exactly, because that's what that self-awareness portion brings, because now you're looking at the reflection finally. You're able to tell yourself, okay, if I'm willing to change, I can't care about what other people think. Now I'm forced to look at myself and care about what I think.
Right.
And usually when you care about what you think, that's when the realness comes. You're going to be honest with yourself. And then with the refocus, that's your call to action. Now you have to implement whatever it is, however you change your mindset, however you looked at yourself with that self-awareness. Now it's time to actually implement and put it in
That's
action.
good. That's good. You know, there's a scripture that talks about loving God with all your heart, soul, might, and strength, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And I was in my 50s when I learned that I wasn't loving people the way they should be loved because I wasn't loving myself the way that I should. See, a lot of people skip that. They say they love God and then I love other people, but they don't love themselves. And really, you faking it. If you don't love yourself, you don't take care of yourself, love yourself, you can never effectively, efficiently, and wholly and fully love other people.
Yes. And you know, I learned that as I was studying the Bible a lot with my ex-wife. I still do it now, but I was doing a lot with my ex-wife. That's one of the things we did. And I realized, I said, you know what, Lord, I can't live my life if I don't get myself together. I said, it will be very tough for me, Lord, to live this life for you and to try to at least follow these small key principles, not the big stuff. I'm talking about the little stuff, the scriptures that we always quote every day, daily, to help us get over the hump.
Right.
Because it's a lot of us who quoting it, but we ain't living it. It's a lot of us who quoting it, but we want to live, we want to believe it in the actual struggle and pain, but we don't want to try to live it when everything's going good.
Right.
So you willing to say, You willing to say, oh my, now I can't even think of them now. Because the thing is, these things, they just embody you, you know? You have to learn to be a living word. And when you a living word, see, this is why a lot of times I think I've just been working at this so much and so hard that some of these little principles are ingrained in me. Like, for instance, greater is he that is in me than he who is in the world. We say it all the time.
Yeah.
That greater is he that is in me, what is inside of you.
Right.
If God's spirit is inside of you, greater is he that is in me. So that's greater than you already. That's the spirit man that's in me. Then he that is in the world, your flesh is in the world. So you have the chance and the power to overcome your flesh through your spirit.
But you got to confront it, you know, just like
you have to
Romans 8:28 talks about all things work together for good to them that love God, not a call according to his purpose. I heard somebody say something the other day. He said, well, I heard somebody explain that if it's not good, then that means it's not over yet.
Yeah.
Because if all things work together for good, if it's not good, then that means it's not over yet.
There it is.
Man, I was like, wait a minute.
Yes.
I was like, that's deep.
Because see, we always want to take the negative,
right,
and we want to run with the negative.
Oh my gosh.
We want to take, I always tell my wife, it's always easy to say no. It's always easy to look at the negative first because that's in us already. But it takes something different to completely reshape your mind to think positive every single day.
I mess people up because I said, you know what, faith and fear are the same thing. They said, what are you talking about?
You better talk to them.
I said, faith and fear are the same thing.
Come on, man.
They said, well, what do you mean? I said, what is faith? And I said, it's believing in something that you can't see yet is going to happen, right?
Come on.
And they said, yeah. I said, what is fear? Believing in something you can't see yet is going to come to pass. Now, I'm not talking about if a lion coming at you. If a lion coming at you, that's all right to understand.
That's real life.
That's real fear. That, you know, I understand that. But I'm talking about you sitting around ruminating and playing stuff in your mind. Like you said, your thoughts. Your thoughts are thinking you're giving more life to the negative than you are the positive, thinking this is going to work out. When I pray about something, and I talk about this in my book, if I pray about something and I'm believing God for something, this, you ask me, how can I remain, you know, I'm saying positive. Well, I'm driving. I expect to get an answer. It may be, it may not come through, you know, a voice talking to me, Dwayne, here's your answer. Although that can happen.
That can happen.
But I can be driving and see a billboard and say, wow.
Come on.
Or somebody call me up and say, hey man, guess what I read today? And I go, wow. Or I'm listening to a song on the radio and the lyrics in that song.
Yes.
I go, wow. And I just say, thank you, God. Somebody asked me, how often do I pray? I said, man, I don't know. I'm a walking prayer meeting, man. I pray all the time about, and I was praying before I came here. You know?
See, it's crazy how what we've done is we've taken these things like prayer and worship, and we just centralize them to just the location. But the thing is, we're supposed to be doing this all the time. It's supposed to be a way of life all the time. I've been saying this stuff since I was in my early 20s, man.
That's deep.
And honestly, it was, and that's why, and I'm gonna be very transparent, because it was a tough transition when I was in my early 20s with going to church, because I see all the repetitiveness that goes on in church
and fakeness, but that's another story.
because they both go hand in hand. Because it's repetitive because you haven't moved on, and it's fake because you going up there lifting holy hands saying you delivered, and you know you ain't been delivered from nothing. You be crying, sobbing, and whole nine. The sobbing and crying because you were right there at the door getting ready to open it up, but you let that fear get in the way.
My grandson, I was taking him. We were visiting some churches, and and he came out. We walked out of church. He called me GP. My grandkids called me GP. Y'all can't have that name. That's mine. It's a cool name.
We can't do that.
GP.
No.
He said, GP, why my man hollering? Why was he hollering? And I started laughing, and I looked at him. I said, Trey, you know how y'all eat your grits? Y'all sin and eat them grits. Y'all put sugar and butter on there. And he looked at me. I said, y'all don't eat it the right way. You put salt, pepper, and butter on there. I said, that's the right way to eat grits. Y'all eat it a different way. I said, you know how y'all both eat grits? Your mother, your grandmother, and y'all eat it the wrong way. I eat it the right way. I said, but guess what? It's still grits. I said, that's the word of God in there. And I said, and some people sitting there right now getting screamed at, you know, that's cool with them. That's how they need to receive. So I don't judge nobody. By them, you know, that's just who they are, right? And so my point in saying that is that there's a lot of different ways for people to get the word of God. But my key is when you leave that building and you get into the fire.
You about to say it.
When you get into the fire, You cannot recall what pastor says and what you heard or what you ever. You got to get that word in you for yourself. Get it for yourself, because you have to be the one to fight that thought, that temptation, that lie. As Jeff said earlier, the lie that comes up and says you're not this and you're not that. It's so many people who don't believe in themselves. You're talking to them and they can't even look you in your eye. They're looking down at their shoes, or they're looking to the left, or they constantly looking away from you because they don't believe who they are. God don't make no mistakes. If you are on this planet, you are on purpose supposed to be here. When I read the scripture, I can't call a number right now, but it's scripture that says that, I think it's in Isaiah. I could be wrong, so I ain't gonna even try it. It's basically, it says that God wrote every day of my life out before I was born. And that's the same way he did with everybody. He wrote every day of your life out. It's the Psalms or Proverbs, one of them. It's in the Old Testament. I know that. So I'll get you that close. But Google it. Google is wonderful for this. Find that scripture that says, before you were born, when you were formed in your mother's womb, God wrote every day of your life out. And when I read that, I was free. And let me tell you why it freed me up, because I said, God don't make no mistakes. Come on. If I'm going through something right now, God is, he's not up there in heaven saying, oh gosh, Dwayne, guys, we got to change some stuff. Dwayne went left when he was supposed to go right. We got to change this. He already knew. He wrote it all out. There you go. And so the key is for me to understand what I'm supposed to do. I used to think I had to discover my destiny. And really what I had to do is just discern it, because it's already written.
I done fell back in the chair. He dropping the gems, people.
Discern it. It's one of those things where when I tell you a real quick story, when I put down into my my goals list, and I write goals and all that kind of stuff. When I put that down, I wrote down, when I was about doing my Muhammad Ali lookalike stuff, is I said I'd really like to meet him one day. And one of the things that happened is that I had an opportunity to meet somebody, and he in turn called somebody who happened to be Muhammad Ali's only biological son. And I ended up meeting him, and some doors opened up, and I ended up having this meeting with the champ and his family, and that was the first one. And then I became friends with him, and met him on several times, spending just time with him, and it was a real blessing. But the thing that I found that opened that whole thing up was because when I took my grandson to this barber who was cutting his hair, and we seemed to, starting in the barbers, right? Barber was cutting my grandson's hair. He started interviewing me. He said, man, who you know who you look like? And I said, yeah, I hear it all the time, man. I hear it every day. And then I started joking with him. And this is the thing. He liked me so much because I was relatable to him, that he called because I was being genuine. Yeah. He called somebody, and they opened the door where they took me to meet the champ, and that whole relationship opened up. And I said that to say that there's somebody out there right now that you have everyday experience happening, where you're going to the beauty shop or the barber shop, or you're going to the grocery store, you're going to whatever, and you're meeting people. And because you're not genuinely being you, because you in your feelings, because you're not expressing yourself, because you're not greeting people with kindness. As I told somebody, I said, you go to church and clap and sing, and then you be screaming at the person at the gas station who cut in front of you, or you go in there and you see somebody who said something, ill to you. And so you get right with them instead of saying, you know what, they could just be having a bad day.
Exactly.
And so I'm just saying to everybody, man, make it this place a better place, man, just by being you. Yeah. Keeping your eyes open for opportunities to bless somebody, to encourage somebody, and just don't quit. We need you. We need what you guys are laying down. We need your gifts and talents. Yes. The world will be a much better place if, in fact, we allowed ourselves to be vulnerable.
I'm telling you, brother. And dog, normally I ask people what their final thought is. What is something you want to leave? But that was perfect. And Mr. Dwayne, brother, thank you.
No, thank you.
Because you really put something in me today, and I know you put something in the people that are out there. I don't have many people that I have on the show that I go over the time with because it's certain things that I just feel that it's ordained. There's certain things that have to be said. It's a message out there for the people. Right. And I thank you for just being diligent. And you said you had something to say, sir, and you were saying it.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you having me on the show, man.
Yes, sir. So, all right, y'all. We wrapping it up now. We stayed over a little bit. I'm gonna have to get this to Diane so she could play this part too. I'm gonna have to chop this up.
Chop it up, yeah.
We got a whole nother hour on here. And
wow.
We can let it rip. We got 49 minutes on this bad boy. So listen, y'all. I just want to thank y'all for tuning in to the Jeff Releford Show, this extended version on WCHI Biggs Radio Chicago. I got my man, Mr. Dwayne Walker here, Chicagoland Popcorn. He has also written a book called I Am Becoming, okay? Y'all go ahead and pick that up, please. And also solicit Chicagoland Popcorn with all these flavors. Just hold them up there. All these flavors. And where can they find it again, sir?
It's we're in Maryville, right across from Albany's, 5470 East Lincoln Highway. And then we're in Miller at 5975 East Melton Road, right across from McDonald's.
There it is, y'all. And all right, y'all, it's your boy, Life Coach Jeff, coming to you live. And remember, as always, redirect, regroup, refocus. And I love y'all so very much. And peace out.
Peace.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and I thank you for joining me on the Jeff Releford Show. Because listen, you could have been doing anything else today, right? But you chose on your way home from work, or if you just at home chilling, to tune in to the Jeff Releford Show. Now, real quick, I want to say this to you. Go ahead, tell your friends and family to download the online Radio Box app to your Android or your Apple device. So that way you can go ahead and listen to us on the go. And what you do is from there, you type in Biggs Radio Chicago. Okay? Biggs Radio Chicago. And also listen to our sister stations in Indianapolis, Indiana, Pasadena, California, Atlanta, Georgia. And once again, you are kicking it with Jeff Releford on the Jeff Releford Show on Biggs Radio Chicago, the voice of a new generation. Let's go.